Welcome to the lecture, guys. In this lecture, we are going to study about the atomic structure, the basic aspects of the atomic structure, the basic things about the atomic structure, the fundamental particles of the atomic structure. Now, this chapter is common in your physics and chemistry both, so that's why I'm taking your this chapter. My name is Anmol Kumar. I'm MTech in Aerospace Engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and your instructor at iitpathshala.com. So let us start the chapter. Now before going into the lecture, guys, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Please hit the bell notification icon. Please check out my other cool videos on HC Verma solution, on recent NEET paper solution, recent IIT JEE main September attempt solution of the physics. You can call me, you can message me your doubts on the following number. You can attend my free classes which I'm giving on physics. You can give exam freely on my site over here at iitpathshala.com. So guys, let us start the lecture itself. Now, as you can see, there is a setup. This is nothing but a glass vessel or a glass tube. Okay, here is your cathode terminal, here is your anode terminal. I have maintained a voltage greater than that of 10,000 volt here, guys. Okay, vacuum is over here. You have a vacuum pump. Okay, and invisible rays are going from cathode terminal to anode terminal. The pressure is very low, 10 to the power minus 4 atom, guys. Okay, so now let us talk about the history of this cathode rays. First, Sir William Crookes studied various gases in a gas discharge tube. This tube is nothing but your gas discharge tube, a glass tube which is at a very high potential. Okay, and the glass tube was at a very low pressure, so a very low pressure of 10 to the power minus 4 atom was maintained inside the glass tube. If the pressure in the tube is lowered to be about 10 to the power minus 4 atom, then the glass begin to glow faintly, as you will see in the upcoming slide. So it was established that the glow was due to the bombardment of the glass by certain kind of ray emerging from the cathode, which is nothing but your negative electrode, which travel in a straight line until they strike the anode, which is nothing but your positive electrode. So these rays were called as your cathode rays. Now guys, Sir J.J. Thomson have demonstrated that when cathode rays were deflected onto an electrometer, it acquire a negative charge. Then he also showed us that the ray were deflected on application of electric field. The cathode ray beam was deflected away from the negatively charged plate towards the positively charged plate, stating that he is carrying a negative charge. Okay, so the result were found to be identical irrespective of the gas taken in the discharge tube. So he concluded that the cathode rays were a stream of fast moving negative charge particle, and he named them as stony, which you call as electrons. Now guys, he also calculated the velocity and the specific charge of the electron. Now specific charge is nothing but the ratio of charge of an electron divided by its mass. So the specific charge is the ratio of charge to the mass of electron, denoted by E by m. The E by m ratio was found to be same for all the gases, guys. So this led to the conclusion that electron must be the fundamental or the universal particle common to all kind of atoms. And the E by m ratio was coming out to be 1.758 into 10 to the power 11 coulomb per kg. Now you have to see that I have not placed a negative over here. Okay, so you can place a negative over here, stating that this denotes for the electron itself. The charge of electron is nothing but in negative. Okay, now properties of cathode ray, guys. So first property is that they travel in a straight line away from the cathode and with a very high velocity from 10 to the power 7 to 10 to the power 9 meter per second. They cast shadow when you place an object in this tube, okay, in their path. Okay, like as you can see over here. So I'm placing an object, as you can see this plus kind of object is being placed over here, and when I switch on my cathode rays over here, you can see the shadow of this object, this plus object shadow can be seen over here. Okay, so this is the thing which I have to tell you, that they cast shadows. Okay, now they produce a green glow when they strike the glass wall matter, guys. light is emitted when they strike the zinc sulfide screen. So there is a zinc sulfide screen over here. The green glow is due to this only, guys. As you can see over here, after this experiment, what I'm doing is I'm lowering my object over here, and you can see the green glow, and you have the reason now why there is a green glow. But in the whole tube you cannot see your cathode ray. At the end only you can see the cathode ray, because they are now emitting the green light. Okay guys, when a small pin is placed, when a small pinwheel is placed, pinwheel is nothing but an object something like this, as you can see on the screen, is placed in their path, the blade of the wheel are set in motion, guys, as you can see in the video itself. Please see the video. The motion is there of the pinwheel. Thus you can say that the cathode ray consists of material particles which have mass and also the velocity, guys. Okay, so we'll see the video once more time for clarification of our concept itself. Okay guys, you can see it over here. Now guys, let us apply a magnetic field as well as an electric field over here. So by applying it, you can see that they are deflected by electric field and magnetic field both. When the rays are passed between the two electrically charged plates, they are deflected toward the positively charged plate. It shows that cathode ray carry a negative charge. These particles carrying negative charge were called as negatrons by J.J. Thomson. Now, they produce heat when they colloid with matter. It shows that cathode ray possess kinetic energy, which is converted into heat energy when they stopped by the matter. These rays affect the photographic plate. Cathode ray can penetrate a thin foil of solid materials. Cathode ray can ionize the gases through which they pass. And also the nature of cathode rays is independent of the nature of the cathode itself and the gas in the discharge tube, guys. That you have to remember. Now let us talk about the mass of the electron. Now you are having the E by M ratio, guys. E by M ratio is given to you by Sir Thomson itself. Okay, so now I have to calculate for the mass of the electron. I can say that mass of electron will be nothing but E upon E by M. Electron charge is known to you, which is 1.602 into 10 to the minus 19, and E by M ratio is nothing but minus 1.7588 into 10 to the power 8. Now keep in mind that here I have taken it in coulomb per gram instead of coulomb per kilogram, as I have described in the earlier slide. So you are getting the answer in gram as follow. You can convert it into kg. Now guys, you have to remember this, that this is the mass or the rest mass of electron I am talking about. So rest mass is nothing when your electron is moving with a very small velocity or with no velocity at all. Okay, so now if you want to calculate mass of a moving electron, you can use the following formula over here. Rest mass of electron upon under root of 1 minus v by c whole square, where v is the velocity of the electron, c is the velocity of light. Now keep in mind that when v is equal to c, then mass of electron will be equal to infinity. But when v is greater than that of c, then mass of electron will be imaginary, guys. Okay, you have to remember that. Now let us talk about the positive ray. Okay, we have talked about the cathode ray. Now let us talk about the positive ray or the discovery of proton, guys. So the first experiment that lead to the discovery of positive rays or positive particle was conducted by Goldstein. He used a perforated cathode, which is nothing but cathode with holes, in a modified cathode ray tube, guys. Now it was observed that when a high potential difference was applied in between the electrode, not only cathode rays were produced, but also a new type of ray were produced simultaneously from the anode, moving towards your cathode and pass through the holes or the canals of the cathode. That's why these rays were named as the canal rays, because they were passing through the canals, guys. Okay, since they pass through the canals of the cathode, these were also named as anode rays, as they are originated from your anode itself. Now when the properties of these rays were studied by Thomson, he observed that these rays considered of a positively charged particle, and they named him as positive rays, guys. Now these are the following characteristics of your positive rays as we have recognized. First one is that the ray travel in a straight line cast shadow of the object placed in the path as like our cathode rays, nothing different. Like cathode rays, these rays also rotate the pinwheel placed in their path and also have the heating effect, guys. Thus, the ray passes kinetic energy, that is, mass particle are present in them, guys. Also, these rays are deflected by the electric and the magnetic field as same manner in the cathode ray, but now you'll be knowing that they will be moving toward the negative terminal when electric field is applied. Okay, the ray produce flash of light on the zinc sulfide screen. Okay, these ray can pass through a thin metal foil very easily. These ray can produce ionization in the gas, and positive particle in the gas have E by M ratio, which is very much smaller than that of electron. Okay, for a small value of E by M, it is definite that positive particle possess much higher mass than that of electron itself. E by M value is dependent on the nature of the gas taken in the discharge tube, that is, positive particle are different in different gases, guys. You have to remember, unlike our previous case. Now, accurate measurement of the charge and the mass of the particle in the discharge tube containing hydrogen, the lightest of all gases, were made by J.J. Thomson in 1906. The particle were found to have E by M ratio equal to 9.5 into 10 to the power 4 coulomb per gram. You have to consider these SI units, guys. You have to take care of the SI units. It's now in coulomb per gram. This was the maximum value of E by M observed for any positive particle. So we are thankful to J.J. Thomson, guys. Now it was assumed that the positive particle given by hydrogen represent a fundamental particle of positive charge. This particle was named as proton by Rutherford in 1911. Its charge was found to be equal in magnitude but opposite in sign than that of your electron itself, guys. So charge on proton is nothing but positive 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, 1 unit positive charge. Now you have to find the mass of the proton. You can do the same drill as we have done with the E by M of your electron. Mass of proton is nothing but E by M. You will be having the following value in the grams. You can convert it into the kg itself. Now let us talk about the AMU, atomic mass unit. So we'll be talking it in the future lecture itself, but now what you can do is, if you want to convert this kg into AMU, you can divide the following number by 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 24 over here. Okay, guys, so gram per gram. Okay, not about kg itself. So I'm taking at it as gram per gram. Okay, so now you are having a 1 AMU over here. Okay, now guys, let us talk about the third one, the neutron. Now you will be thinking the same, that if there is a positive, if there is a negative, then there one should be a neutral. For example, there is a cool guy in the class, there is a very bully type guy in the class, then there should be a nerdy type guy in the class also. Okay, guys, so in 1920 Rutherford suggested that in an atom there must be present at least third type of fundamental particle, which should be basically electrically neutral and possess mass nearly equal to that of proton. He proposed the name for such fundamental particle as neutron, guys. In 1932, Chadwick bombarded beryllium with a stream of alpha particles. He observed that penetrating radiation were produced which were not affected by the electric and the magnetic field. So that's how he can say that there is no charge possessed by these neutrons, because they are remains undeflected. So these radiation consist of neutral particle which were called as the neutron. The nuclear reaction, you can show it over here. I've shown it over here. You are bombarding an alpha particle. Okay, we'll be talking about all this. What is alpha particle? What is this beryllium atom? In the future slides itself. Now take it as a jargon here. You are bombarding this ball, which is nothing but alpha particle, to your beryllium atom. Now here you can note down everything that I've given you, the charge, I've given you the atomic number, I've given you the mass of both of them over here. Now this beryllium is now being converted into carbon atom over here. Okay, everything is being now changed. Atomic number is changed from 4 to 6, mass is changed from 9 to 12 over here. Okay, the whole thing is being changed over here, and the matter of fact is that you are getting a neutron over here which is electrically neutral. You are having a charge equal to 0 and mass equal to 1 AMU, guys. Okay, Now the neutron is a subatomic particle which has a mass of 1.675 10 to the power minus 24 gram, approximately 1 AMU, or nearly equal to that of mass of a proton or hydrogen atom, and it carries no electrical charge. The E by M value of neutron is 0, guys. Okay, so guys, if you loved my lecture, please like, share and subscribe my channel, and please hit the bell notification icon. Also you can check out my other videos also. In the next part we are going into much deeper detail of this chapter. We are going into the numerical aspect of the chapter. Please study the following chapter, make notes of the lecture itself. So we'll meet you in the next lecture. Until then, goodbye guys.